have another correction. And again, when markets are just kind of stuck here in this overbought territory for a period of time, it's eventually going to reverse because it's just sucking all the buyers into the market. When there becomes a point that somebody says, hey, I'm out, there's no buyers there, and the buyers are sitting at a much lower price. And that's why markets will go through this correctional phase at some point. Let's talk about what you need to know before the bell this morning. Markets back on a buy signal. Still overbought here a lot, but again, this has kind of been the case here for a while. We've been overbought here for a time, and this is not new, by the way. This is something that we saw last year in particular, because last year at this time, as we were kind of going through the markets, we were talking about this whole issue that the markets were moving higher. Everything was fine, and this is really kind of what was going back in May and June, July, and again, very similarly, we stayed overbought for a period of time, and it seemed like, oh, this market's just going to keep going up. We're just overbought, and we're going to stay that way. That should just kind of become the normal thing. Each one of these periods where we were exceedingly overbought for a period of time and remained overbought here for a while, eventually devolved down into a correction. This was 10% last year. We had 5% earlier this year. So again, we're going to have another correction. And again, when markets are just kind of stuck here in this overbought territory for a period of time, it's eventually going to reverse because it's just sucking all the buyers into the markets. And so again, when there becomes a point that somebody says, hey, I'm out, there's no buyers there, and the buyers are sitting at a much lower price. And that's why markets will go through this correctional phase at some point. The only question is when. And I know we talked about this for a while, is that a correction is coming, 5 to 10%, before the election, most likely. That's your time frame. The question, the timing, of course, is do you get out of the markets now and then just kind of wait for the correction? But the markets can keep going up. And that's always one of the real challenging parts about managing a portfolio. And again, we kind of saw this really kind of following October of last year. We had this correction, and then the markets just kind of gravitated higher. And all through here, there was plenty of reasons for the markets to correct, and then they finally did. But the problem of selling too soon is you say, well, the market's going to correct, so I sell out here, as an example. And then the market keeps going up, so now you're not in the markets are going up, then the market corrects and you're right back to where you were previously, when you sold out. So, that's the challenge of trying to get the timing of managing these corrections, correct. And this is why we talk about making small moves, small changes, just rebalancing risk, reducing positions that are really, really extended. Just those small changes, and that'll keep you invested in the markets while the markets are rising. And then once the correction does begin, that gives you the opportunity to go ahead and decrease your exposure some more, add some hedges, and then wait for your next opportunity to put some of that cash that you had raised previously back to work. But that's just part of this overall process of managing money. But again, the point here is that we're very similar to what we saw previously, where this market just kind of grinds higher ad nauseum, remains overbought. You kind of get to this point of complacency where it's like, market's just not going to correct again, and then it corrects. And that's just the way it works, and that's why you have insurance. That's what you need to know before the bell this morning.